Hello, awesome students. Today is a great day to learn and practice our reading skills. I am so glad to be here with you today to engage in a reading task where we're going to read a familiar story. Are you ready? Then let's go. Our essential question in this unit is, how do we know what is right? Boys and girls, we have been learning for the past couple of weeks that stories have messages, and those messages help us to understand the right thing to do. On last week, we read The Three Little Pigs. From reading The Three Little Pigs, we were able to learn something about the characters. We read that the first pig built his house of straw and the second pig built his house of sticks. That helped us to understand that the first pig and the second pig did not plan ahead and make a strong house. They chose weak materials for their houses. They didn't take the time and work hard to build strong houses. Unlike the third pig, who planned out a stronger substance to withstand a huff and a puff. He planned out what he could build his house of in order for it to stand tall without being blown down. So we were able to learn that when you take time to plan out things, good things will come out of it. In week 1, you learned how to identify the central message of a story. In this week, boys and girls, we're going to learn that by using key details, you will be able to figure out the message the author wants you to know. All right, boys and girls, now we're going to engage in our learning target. I would like for you to listen aloud as I read the learning target and repeat after me. Today I am learning about identifying what happened in the beginning, middle, and end of the story so that I can tell someone about a story read aloud to me. I know I have learned it when I can retell familiar stories, including key events. All right, boys and girls, that comes from Standard RL K2. Now I would like for you to turn to your parent or your sibling or anyone in your home and tell them in your own words what we're going to learn today. All right, that's exactly correct, boys and girls. What we're going to do today is retell familiar stories, including key events. Are you ready to engage in this learning target today? Then let's go. Boys and girls, the story that we're going to engage in reading this week is titled The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Boys and girls, this is the front cover of the book. The front cover gives us the title. What is the title? That's exactly right. The title is the name for the book or the name for the story. The front cover also lists the author. The author of this story is retold by Brenda Parks. This story is retold because it has several different versions. What does the author do? That's exactly correct. The author writes the story. The illustrator of this story is Daniela Dagliana. The illustrator is responsible for what, boys and girls? That's exactly right. The illustrator is responsible for drawing the pictures. As you can see, the front cover gives us important information about the story. This particular page is called the title page. What is it called, boys and girls? That's exactly right. It's called the title page. The title page is a page at the beginning of a book given its title, the names of the author and the publisher, and other publication information. So it tells us the name of the story, who wrote the story, the company that is responsible for publishing the story, and the year and date of when it was published. So now, boys and girls, it is time for us to engage in reading the story. I would like for you to listen to the story while I read it aloud. I would like for you to also listen for key events in the story. As I read the story, I would like for you to point to the words on the screen as I read them aloud. So what are we going to listen for as I read the story? That's exactly correct. We're going to listen for key events. Are you ready? Okay, let's begin. We're going to begin at the top of the page. There was once a shepherd boy who had to look after the village sheep. Who is the character in the story so far? That's exactly right, a shepherd boy. Day after day, he sat on a hillside. Where might a hillside be located? That's exactly right, outside. How do we know that? Because we can see it in the illustration. Remember, boys and girls, illustrations are just as important as the words in the text because they give us information that is not stated in the text. Let's keep reading. Day after day, he watched the sheep as they grazed. Day after day, he grew more and more bored. So what's important about this page? What did we learn so far? That's correct. The shepherd boy who looks after the village sheep gets bored. One day, the boy decided to play a trick on the villagers. What was he going to do? That's correct. Play a trick on the villagers. He cried out, "Woof! Woof! A wolf is chasing the sheep!" Boys and girls, why did my voice change? That's exactly right, because there were exclamation points at the end of those three sentences. And what does an exclamation point tell us to do? That's correct. An exclamation point lets the reader know that they need to show excitement or expression. So that's why my voice level changed before reading those three pieces of text. Let's keep reading. The villagers rushed up the hill to help, but when they arrived at the top of the hill, there was no wolf. "Where is the wolf?" they asked. So, boys and girls, what did we learn on this page? That's correct. The boy calls out that a wolf is chasing the sheep, but when the villagers come there, they did not see a wolf. The shepherd boy laughed loudly. Ha, ha, ha. I was only playing a trick on you. There is no wolf. The villagers were very angry. Why were the villagers angry, boys and girls? That's exactly right, because the shepherd boy played a trick on them and he stated that there was not a wolf. Do not cry, wolf, if there is no wolf, they said. Why do you think they told him that? Maybe because they are not there for any games. That's exactly correct. So, boys and girls, what key event did we learn on this page? That's correct. The boy plays the same trick again. A few days later, the shepherd boy grew bored again. He played his trick again. He cried out, "Woof! Woof! A wolf is chasing the sheep!" What did he do again, boys and girls? That's correct. He played the same trick again. Let's keep reading. Again, the villagers rushed up the hill to help. Again, they found the boy laughing because he had tricked them. Why was the boy laughing? Because he had tricked them, correct. The villagers were very, very angry. "Do not cry wolf if there is no wolf," they said. Why do they keep telling him that? Because they're tired of him not being honest, and they do not have time for those games. Later that day, the boy saw a real wolf prowling around the sheep. Shaking with fear, he yelled, "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is chasing the sheep!" as the wolf scattered the sheep far and wide. So what has happened, boys and girls? That's exactly correct. A real wolf has come to the hillside. Let's keep reading. But this time, no one came up the hill to help. Why don't you think that anyone came to help him? Tell your neighbor. That's exactly correct, because he has played this trick so many times that this time they were not going to give in to it. Let's keep reading. The villagers thought the boy was trying to trick him again. So, boys and girls, before reading this page, what key event did we just learn? That's exactly correct. A wolf comes and chases the sheep. The boy calls for help, but the villagers don't come. Let's read to see what happens next. That evening, the villagers wondered why the shepherd boy did not bring their sheep home. Once again, they climbed up the hill, but this time the villagers saw their sheep scattered far and wide. Why were the sheep scattered far and wide? That's exactly correct. A wolf had just come and chased them abroad. They found the shepherd boy sobbing. Boys and girls, what does the word sobbing mean? Take a second to think about that. All right, what does it mean? It's another word for crying. How did you know that? That's exactly correct. You were able to use your context clues, and you were able to look in the illustration and see that the boy has his hands rubbing his eyes. And then you were able to make a text-to-self connection that when you tend to cry, you do the same thing. We normally put our hands on our eyes and rub them as we're crying aloud. So sobbing is a form of crying. Let's keep reading. "Why didn't you come?" he asked the villagers. "Why didn't you come? There really was a wolf here." "We didn't believe you. We thought you were playing a trick again," said the villagers. So, from reading this text, how do you think the boy is feeling? He's upset. He's sad. Why? That's exactly correct, because when he cried for help, the villagers did not come. Do you think it was mean for the villagers to not come help him? That's correct. No, it was not mean, because the boy had been dishonest so many times that the villagers were tired of his games, and they felt like they had too much work to do instead of coming for no reason. So, what key event did we learn on this page? We learn that the villagers do not believe the boy because they think it is another trick. So after reading this story, boys and girls, what message do we learn? Let's take a second to think about that and read on to figure it out. Nobody believes a liar. Boys and girls, what does this word that begins with a L mean? That's exactly correct. A liar is someone who does not tell the truth. Let's read that sentence again. Nobody believes a liar, even when he's telling the truth. So what message did we learn in this story? Tell your parent or sibling. As I was listening to your conversations, you're exactly correct. We learned that you should always tell the truth if you want people to believe you. So, boys and girls, going back over our essential question for the week, a message in a story can tell us the right thing to do. So, what is the right thing that we should always do? That's exactly right. We should always tell the truth if we want to be always believed. Did you enjoy that story? I did as well. Now let's get to our task. Now, boys and girls, it's time for you to show what you know. You're going to complete this activity individually on your own. Before you begin, I would like for you to get a sheet of paper. You can get any sheet of paper that is blank. It can have lines on it, it can be white, or it can be a colored piece of construction paper. I would like for you to fold that paper according to how we folded it last week. You can either turn it up and down vertically, like a hot dog, or horizontally, like a hamburger. You're going to fold that sheet of paper 2 times. So go ahead and take a second to fold the paper 2 times. After you have folded the paper, you should see that you have 3 sections. If you're able to count 1, 2, 3, then you folded it correctly. Now with that sheet of paper, you're going to do 2 things. After listening to The Boy Who Cried Wolf, you're going to first draw pictures to show what happened in the beginning, middle, and end of the story. After you have drawn your pictures and colored them, I would like for you to write complete sentences to tell about your illustrations. Remember, we are only telling about what we draw on our paper. After you have completed that activity, boys and girls, I would like for you to show your parents and have them to take a picture of your work and email it or text it to your teacher. Or you could upload it to our Facebook page and put hashtag The Boy Who Cried Wolf activity. Boys and girls, I hope that you've had a wonderful time listening to the story, and I hope that you have a wonderful time completing this task. Boys and girls, you have done an amazing job engaging in this reading task with me today. I hope you have enjoyed the story as well as enjoyed the activities that went along with it. I am so proud of your work ethic today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.